My friends, my family, this is going to be Studio One episode 3. Well, Studio One EDM episode 3. This one's going to be a little more loose, a little more fun. It's pretty late here in Toronto. Probably going to go to bed soon. Know what I'm saying? Alright, so a couple things I wanted to touch on because I've discovered some fun things. Usually I'm working with like an MPC beat pad. Excuse me, I'm drinking some tea. Well, it's actually an MPD 226. It's pretty generic. It's kind of entry level. Little pad you can use to help make beats. It's got a couple faders and knobs on it and stuff, which is pretty cool. So the reason I bring that up, EDM producers, that's a pretty common piece of equipment you should have. And you know what, if you don't know how to set it up yet or you're looking to get one, there's a gazillion tutorials on how to do that. I'm not going to walk you through that. I'm going to presume that everybody watching this has it set up in their DAW, so it's ready to go. Now I'll show you what I did to set up mine quickly, just as a caveat, because when I set up my MPD, if I go to external devices and I did my setup, I actually set it up as a keyboard, because if we go to add, we can set up a keyboard, new instrument, or control surface. I tried these two and it was, needless to say, a pain in my ass and didn't actually work. I had to set it up as a new keyboard so that when I went into MIDI learn, right, so let me see how we get back to MIDI learn. Going here. I recall it being something to do with over here. Excuse me. There was something. We'll have to probably go to another YouTube video for that. But essentially, once you get to the MIDI learn page, then you can essentially. It's going to bug me now that I don't know that. So we'll come back to that. Anyway, let's assume that you've done the MIDI learn, you've got it all set up, blah, blah, blah. Now, in the Studio One 4 update, there's this little button that, it might have been there before in number 3, but I certainly noticed it when version 4 came out. So what's really effing neat about this bloody button, hold on, let me do that again. So when it's off, it's nothing. When it's on, we get all these knobs. Now, that's a track that I've got set up. Let's say we go here and it's to a blank one. It just shows up as this. And you're probably wondering like, oh, cool. Bunch of fucking empty knobs. That's really helpful. So, what is cool about this is when we have things set up with our MPD 226 or whatever you have, we get this cool ability to have this as a permanent setting. So I made this a part of an effects rack that I have here. So let's go to a blank track, audio 4 for example. In my effects rack, I have Vox set up. That's just what I called it. So whenever I have a vocal track, or this is, even though I called it Vox, it's kind of my go-to effects rack that I built. And automatically it comes up with all of my parameters that I've preset. So now when I go to click on this track, and then I go to spin some knobs, ooh, look at that. So without having to set anything, you can reset stuff of course, but it's an easy way so that when you open up a track, we can start fiddling with stuff and be a little more hands-on, right? And get a more human effect when we essentially go to play something. So let me just solo this. Right. Excuse me. So you get the picture. So you can have, knob number 2 set to fader number 3. It doesn't have to correlate exactly, right? You can have some of these hooked up to faders, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and what's really cool is you can have bypass buttons as well. So my altar boy, I always have bypassed. So I have this bypass hooked up right here. So when I first saw this little control panel view, I was like, what good is this going to do? Like, I don't understand. And then the more Ableton tutorials I watched, I saw this, I got an email from Output showing, oh man, I forget his name. Shame on me. He's a real amazing hip hop producer who does a lot of Kendrick stuff. He was essentially, he's writing something on the spot, and he had his pad and he was fiddling with stuff, and I could tell he didn't have to set it up. It was just already preset. He just started playing something and then he was fiddling, and it was seamless to put a word to it, right? And it was instant as well, and there was no thinking involved. He could just feel it out. And I think that's something that's really lacking in today's EDM world or electronic producer world, is the ability to have, a hands-on kind of touch to it. So a lot of keyboards nowadays are built, or MIDI keyboards are built in with, a bunch of knobs and faders and pads and stuff right on them, which is fantastic. My setup is really minimal for my keyboard. It's got nothing on it, so I just have this secondary pad to help out. So it would be more efficient to have even like an MPK 25, or 49 that's mobile, that has knobs and faders, that this is all preset. So I think it's safe to say you know where I'm going with this. And I actually wrote a song recently, not this one, where I used that almost right away when I had this set up. I used the EQ. This is something that's really cool when you're fiddling around. So, I mean, yeah, we can automate that, of course. There's no denying that. And I think what's kind of really cool about this is that, and by the way, let me back up a sec, because a lot of you guys are probably wondering, like, how the fuck do I do this, right? So, in any Studio One plugin that you've got opened, it doesn't matter if you got Serum opened or this little mix rack or an effects. After you've done your MIDI learn, right? So again, you'll have to figure that out. Once I spin knob 1, so you can see it change here, right? So knob 1, knob 2, knob 3. I've titled all these, by the way, so it says that. So as I'm going through these knobs, so I've got my OTT getting changed because I've linked them now, this yellow button. Knob 4, I don't have it linked to anything. So let's link it to, I've got my high frequency. So let's link it to so we click on this, we just touch it or do whatever. Then I go to my knob 4, and now let's link that. So every time I hit knob 4, I've got an EQ. It's down here that's always going to get Now you see, now that I've clicked on the EQ, it doesn't. It's a little weird. So let me set it up like this. So hopefully we can get an idea. So I guess once you open this, it closes all your effects. And the idea being that you can't have an effect open at the same time because of this linking situation. This is where it gets a little confusing, but once you have it all preset, you won't really need to look at it at the same time. You know what I mean? This is more for play. So anyway. So we got that as well. You know, and what's really kind of cool is you can change this setup and then go to here and store new, right? So you can have Vox set up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and have knobs do different shit each time, right? So depending on your effects rack and everything else, you can really customize that. These are just ones that I find myself using commonly. So what's really cool is even like in Serum Effects, it's got a gazillion options, right? It's its own effects rack in itself. So I've got an effects rack within an effects rack. We can go to this buddy here. And we can't see anything now because I've got it all set up. So let's go to something new here. Let's go to Audio 5. Let's go here. Let's bring in Serum Effects just for the fuck of it. Yeah, because this had me all kinds of excited the other day. And I wanted to bring this up. So we got Serum Effects. Nothing activated yet, but let's go to this guy. Now you see this little wrench here. Okay, click on that. And now we see the parameter, Serum Effects, and then we've got all of the items inside of Serum Effects. So we've got, once we scroll down a bit, then we get to the effects. Get EQ, right? We've got distortion, flange, phaser, and all the parameters within them, right? So that's fucking cool, man. That Studio One reads that, and we get to essentially whip her out. So I was pumped about that. Let's go to, there was a, I want to do, yeah, I'm going to make a new one right now just for the fuck of it. I think it's EQL. So we're on knob 1 here. Shit, where'd you go? Okay, EQ. No, we do H. I think it means high. Duh. Alright, and I wanted to do, I had this funky, like, tremolo effect. Yeah, here we go. I wanted to bring in the mix on this somehow. It's the volume depth, probably the depth. Just double click it and then it adds it. Click off the wrench, there we go. So now we got a couple things set up. And because we're on a new track. Oh shit. So even when we're on a new track, it remembers that you've linked knob 1 to this first. I love when I point at the screen. I'm such a fucking dope. So once Studio One remembers that knob 1 is linked here. And so knob 2 I had linked like over here on my last setup. So that's kind of interesting. I'm not opposed to that, I guess. So maybe it's good to keep things in order, right? So, anywho, I'm gonna store that, and then what's cool is you can actually replace this. So like you add to it, or you make it better somehow. You can just replace this. So I've just started this, so I'm gonna call it chill flow, just cause. Anywho. You gotta have it open if you wanna fuck with it. The only thing I don't like is when I went to record, like if I'm fiddling with something, it didn't actually record it. Which I think is just a setting I have to mess with. I was doing some shit on a MIDI the other day. Yeah, so this happens. You can see how that'd be fucking dope, right? Pardon my French. So I've got the serum patch I made called Dead Pluck for obvious reasons. Let's say I want to record. Oh, here we go. Yeah, let's put it in. So I put okay, so I got a filter mix here, like on this patch, but I also just did this. So what the fuck? Okay, so yeah, so it actually records it into. So this is literally just what I did. And so you can see how unfucking even that is, right? that's the human effect. That's the beauty right there. So I wonder if you can fucking mute that. I love how I just like, oh yeah, check this out. Boom. We go to this one, that one's active. This one is bypassed. Huh. No, it's not bypassed. Yeah, so I don't know. If you don't like it, you'll just have to fucking change it, I guess, but or undo. Yeah, boom. There you go. So anyway, that was the main thing I wanted to show you. Oh shit, it's 9:42. Okay. Is there a timer? No? I don't know how long I'm going to go for, but anyway. So that's that. I mean, this was like a fun, I literally called this fun chop, like fun vocal chop, so just poking around with that. I wrote this, called it Chanel Song, because it sounds like a song someone would write for Chanel. So I'll let y'all check it out. I actually used Arcade for this, and like I got like 5 tracks, or wait, I got 6 tracks. What am I chopping out? Excuse me. I'm running heavy samples, bro. Maybe I'll just show y'all the SoundCloud then. Fuck it. I knew y'all couldn't hear that. Pissed me off. Do 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 do. Yeah. That's such bullshit. That the other song was working perfectly. Now this one's chopping out. So, pretty much just repeats after that. Now, y'all didn't know I played guitar, did you? Put a little bit of sidechain on this as well, but I got a little piano solo. Now, hopefully y'all saw this. Look at all these squagglies. that right there is because I played with this shit right here, like I was just showing you. So all this so I'm very proud of that because that's an effect that you hear in a lot of hip hop music. And I think a lot of it I attribute to doing what we've just been talking about this whole time, is playing with that and get that human effect, right? So the fact that we can do that in Studio One is outstanding. And not to mention just fun, right? So I think a lot of producers can relate to the fact that things being so automated, although they have their benefits and it's really fun and unique and, you know, a way to escape and do your thing and practice your art, be mobile at an airport, in a hotel room, your bedroom, your office, doesn't matter. But there's something human and there's something organic about being able to turn knobs and feel it out. And even if that knob is digital, right, being able to have that, that's your arm. That's, it sounds crazy, but that's you doing it, right? When you just say, okay, button, go from fucking point A to point B like this, that looks a lot less, and this looks a lot more computerized than down here, right? So two different dynamics I'm going for on that, but I think you get the picture. I wish I wrote those chords. It saddens me that I didn't. You see, stuff like this, I'm really against this. If you've watched my channel before, you know I'm really big on writing melodies, and so I wrote a lot of melodies around those chords, which I'm proud of, like the guitar and the piano here. And the bass as well. Sorry, I don't know what's chopping out, so I won't annoy you, but I used arcade on this. Just like playing around, having fun, because I found out about this whole thing I could do, so I was just trying stuff out. Okay, there we go. Yeah, and then this whole thing came about, right, and just did my thing. But I used those real R&B chords there. Like, holy, whoever wrote that, amazing. So yeah, I was just playing around, use that, stole that, I should say. So, which I don't like. I was gonna like copy it, like take my bass line and then copy some chords, but just got lazy. Just was having fun. So sometimes that's what it's all about. Otherwise, I think I'm gonna keep it short and sweet on this one. I'm gonna, there's been some real kind people commenting on my stuff, so I'm going to do my best to put some more stuff out there. I get really busy sometimes with work. And, I've been producing a little less than I'd like to lately. However, I'm still pumping them out, every so often. Still trying to get a little better every day. Still watching lots of YouTube, watching lots of tutorials, the most I can. If I'm not playing, I'm learning. Right, so that's got to be your motto if you want to get better. Really indulge in subgenres and don't just focus on how do I sound like Deadmau5 or how do I sound like Porter Robertson. All those are fantastic artists that would do you good to emulate. make that a temporary phase, not a permanent, right? So anyway, I'm going to keep it short and sweet, like I said. Please comment on the video. Please subscribe. Anything would help. I'd love to dive more into this stuff with you guys and help build up Studio One, help build up a community. So anyway, over and out, fam. Peace.